Why just her classroom? Why only hers?
We have a lot of emotional parents here.
Where are our children?
I think it's best if you keep some distance from this place. What the fuck?
Weapons is the most anticipated horror movie of the year, where a bunch of kids from a classroom wake up in the middle of the night and Naruto run into the dark and nobody knows where they are. And the cool thing is that this movie is brought to us by the same guy who directed Barbarian, which was also a pretty scary movie. So the result with this movie's fucking awesome. The opening weekend was enough to place Weapons at the #1 spot at the box office, and so far after 2 weeks, it accumulated worldwide $180 million. For a horror movie, this is actually really crazy impressive. So let's talk about it. Let's analyze how Zach Cregger created a horror masterpiece that also captivated the world's attention. When it comes to horror, we gotta break it down to 3 categories. The characters, which we experience the horror through, the monster, which is providing the horror, and the world where the horror is taking place. Let's start with the characters. Characters in horror movies are extremely important because we feel fear through people. This isn't a video game. In video games, we feel fear for our own character, our little avatar that we're playing with, that we need to act in order to survive. We are scared for ourselves. But in a movie, you don't control any of the characters. Therefore, we have to first care about these characters in order to be invested in their journey so that when the scary stuff starts happening, we are actually concerned about our characters. The problem with a lot of horror movies nowadays is that their characters are blank shells. Basic, uninteresting, and sometimes they're so stupid that you actually want the killers to kill them. So if anything, this might be the most important category to get right, because if we don't care about the characters, we're most likely not going to care about the movie. Weapons excels in this area specifically because they give us multiple points of views on the same crisis, so we get to understand everybody's perspective. Justine is not a bad person and has nothing to do with the disappearance of the kids. However, she's not professional sometimes, she steps over boundaries, she's an alcoholic, and she sleeps with married men. Archer Graff is a father who just lost his son, so we can understand why he's aggressively accusing Justine. However, he was a little bit of a hard father. He never told his son that he loved him, and now that his son is gone, he's really feeling the guilt. The cop is someone who has a phobia of needles and ends up doing something super unprofessional, which is knocking out the guy that he arrested, and the body cam caught it on camera. He tells his superior, who just so happens to be the father of his wife. We understand that he needs to stop this guy from coming to the station and placing a report. And now let's get to my favorite character, the junkie. He is hilarious because he's a thief trying to break into cars, break into houses, steal stuff to go into pawn shops and get a little bit of money, but all of a sudden he's the one that stumbles onto the kids, so he's now one of the most important characters of the story. And since we see each person's perspective, we are more empathetic to each person's viewpoint. I care about Justine because I know she's not a perfect person, but at the same time, she didn't do anything wrong, so she's being wrongly treated. I care about Archer Graff because no one should lose their son, and even worse, no one should lose their son if they never told them, "I love you." So we really want to see him find his son. Yes, the junkie is a piece of shit. He breaks into cars and into houses and steals stuff from people, but since he knows where the kids are, I want to see him succeed. You want to see him get the $50,000 because we want to see the kids get saved. I don't necessarily care for the cop. I think he's more of a piece of shit character, but at least I'm still invested in his journey because he has clear stakes. He has to make sure this guy doesn't file a report if he wants to keep his job. So we don't have to agree with everybody's actions and their flaws. However, at least we are now invested in everybody's journey. So now we have characters that we care about, so when creepy stuff starts happening, we're actually gonna get scared because we care for them. The next thing we have to talk about is the monster, or the source of our fear. In this movie, spoiler warning, it's a witch. Gladys serves as our monster, which the fear will come from. And what makes an effective monster in a horror movie are clear rules, consistent behavior. What can it do? What can't it do? How does it hunt, travel, sense, and kill? Consistency equals dread. Inconsistency equals eye rolls. A great example of the inconsistent monster would be in The Nun 2. Valak's method for killing its victims are so vastly different throughout the movie that nobody knows why, and neither does the movie. It just changes in every scene conveniently to fit what it needs in the moment. But once you string all these scenes together, none of it really makes any sense. Because the truth of the matter is, we already have to suspend our disbelief a certain amount, because we're dealing with the witch, which isn't a real thing. But the audience will be willing to suspend their disbelief as long as you present them with consistent rules. Gladys doesn't change her methods at all throughout the movie. It's all the same. She needs a branch from her tree, she needs a personal item from someone, a strand of hair, and some of her blood. Later on in the movie, she doesn't all of a sudden change this to now I need a piece of their toenail or I need a branch from some different tree. And not only is her ritual consistent, but her powers are consistent as well. She doesn't all of a sudden come out with new powers towards the end of the movie. She is able to get people in a trance and control them and weaponize them. And that is all she does in the movie. And with that, we have an effective monster that we can use as our source of fear to scare the audience. The last thing I want to talk about is the world itself where the fear is taking place. This is where the movie actually might come up short a little bit. Because yes, the world building is awesome, the community is in shock, gossip and blame spreading faster than fact. It's all great. The only problem is in this movie, the police force are a bunch of dum-dums. How is Alex's house not under constant surveillance? He's literally the only kid that didn't disappear. And they do address this in the movie, but I still think that they don't do a good job. They search his house once, and you're meaning to tell me nobody notices after that the windows are all covered up with newspapers? That's very strange and suspicious. How is it that a school teacher found this out before the cops did? How come no further questions have been asked? Like when the dad comes in for questioning, Gladys tells them that he's suffering like a stroke or something, that he can't talk? That seems hella suspicious. Wouldn't there be a medical record of this happening, like by the hospital or the doctor that he goes to? Couldn't this be fact checked? How come Archer Graff, a regular citizen who's not an investigator, is better at investigating, putting things together, and finding the house? Could nobody in the police force come up with the idea of tracing all the kids' running direction? It just seems like they're stupid. Anyways, that's really the only gripe that I had with the movie. Everything else was amazing. This is definitely one of the best movies of the year, and in my opinion, one of the best horror movies of this decade. So be sure to study Zach Cregger, because my god, he is 2 for 2 so far. But don't forget to give this video a like, comment down below what you thought about weapons, subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.